The Detroit Lions defense has been completely overhauled. We completely overhauled the secondary, even a linebacker we drafted in the first round, which is something Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes had not done up until the 2022 NFL draft. But there's a few places, in my opinion, that the Detroit Lions could still use some help at. Now, you know, I'm a big edge rusher guy, and I feel like we don't have a lot of pure edge rushers. I know you guys disagree with me in the comment section, and that's okay. We'll see who was right as the season goes on. But there's been a position that Brad Holmes didn't really feel we took a defensive tackle in the third round as more of a project piece, and where we brought in Christian Covington in free agency. We also brought back John Kaminsky, who kind of plays inside and outside. And while Aleem McNeil has lost weight, lost body fat, we don't know what's going on with Levi Onwuzurike. But we do know this, that Chris Jones from the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs that we opened the season with, is not happy in Kansas City. You talk about a move that will take the Detroit Lions over the top. Coming from Adam Schefter, Chiefs All-Pro defensive tackle Chris Jones, who has been seeking a new deal this offseason, did not report with the rest of the team to training camp today per source. The two sides remain far apart on a new deal for the Defensive Player of the Year finalist. Now, you might be saying, you want this guy to get everyone. That's not true. We need a defensive tackle. We desperately need a defensive tackle. From Deron Payne, Jeffrey Simmons, we have watched all of them. And now with the latest one, Quentin Williams, who is a pipe dream anyway, is off the market. There's no one left. You're talking about going out to get a guy that can anchor this defense. One last push to make the Detroit Lions legit NFC title contenders. Let's take a look at Chris Jones' stats for the 2022 NFL season. You're talking about a defensive tackle yet again with 15 and a half sacks in 2022. Let's look at the entirety of his career. Drafted in 2016 in the second round, has spent his entire career in Kansas City. He's played all 17 games last year. Has not had less than, his worst year was his rookie year with 2 sacks, 6.5, 15.5. A second year with double-digit sacks, coming off a 9 in 2021 and a 7.5 in 2022. I'm telling you, this is a move that Brad Holmes could make that could push the Detroit Lions defense to where it needs to be, because you and I both know that while we might disagree on edge rusher, we're totally going to agree on the fact that the Detroit Lions need somebody to clog up that middle. And what better way to go get the guy from a team that we're going to play opening night? You're talking about putting on a show. This would put on a revenge game. This would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But it brings the thought of what he would be paid for 2022 going into 2023, what his salary would be. And according to Spot Track, here it is. In 2023, his base salary is $19 million. $19 million. His cap hit is $29 million. His dead cap is $36 million. He becomes an unrestricted free agent. Am I looking at the right year? I'm not. It's $19 million. His cap hit is $28 million. And his dead cap is $7 million. That was 2022 I was looking at. We're in 2023 now. The bad news is he becomes a free agent next year. So what we're talking about here, as we look at the Detroit Lions being 10th on the list with $18 million in cap space, we drop down to number 10, probably after a few signings or two. We're talking about having to lock this guy up. This is a very expensive 1-year rental, but he's 29 years old. In my opinion, not losing a step. Yeah, you might not want to spend the money. And Brad, this is not what he does. I'm going to come out here and say it. How would you feel if Brad Holmes does something, goes against the grain of what he usually does, and snatches up Chris Jones out of the clutches of Kansas City, who we're playing game 1 of the NFL season? Will it happen? Probably not. Should it happen? Absolutely. That is one position that we didn't really feel. We don't know what we're getting out of Broderick Martin. We know he's a project piece. We know that, but we don't know what we're getting from him exactly. I would love to see this happen. I don't think it will, but I would love for Brad Holmes, as we're going into training camp, as we're heading to the preseason, to go snatch up a guy who's not available. He's not available, but he could become available. Brad Holmes has done stranger things. Make it happen, Brad. Let's shore up that defensive line. Get Chris Jones on this team. That would be the move. Because honestly, Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, they all got monster deals. And he's going to get a decent deal too. It's not going to be on their level, but he's going to get a decent deal. I'm not sure what we could pay him. He wants security. That's what he wants. He wants a new deal. Let's give him that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And I hope you like the new edition. And as always, go Lions.